Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Lomanale, and remember, no droids allowed. And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cantina here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel, GenreVerse Podcast Network, available wherever you get those podcasts from. I'm Kyle, joined as usually by Cam, Clark, and then now once again by Shockey, who had taken a leave of absence for a while because he had to go do the real life thing, the real job thing. So welcome back, Shockey. How's it going?
It's good to be back, guys. Good to be back. Good, and we got some good Star Wars news this week. So
yeah, finally,
good week to be back. Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of news, you guys can find the stories we're going to talk about today and more at lrmonline.com. Go there every day for all written news needs, entertainment news needs, opinions. Yeah, you're not going to find all news. Your local weather, got to go somewhere else. No, but all your entertainment news needs, opinions. If you're
give you international weather if you want.
Yeah, there you go. Well, for Cam, it's cloudy.
Actually, no, it's not. It's the opposite.
Really? Oh my God!
Having absolutely gorgeous weather. It's literally the longest I've ever seen it go.
Nice.
Without rain before. We went 18 days without rain in June. Anyway.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. If you guys are into what you see here, we do have other podcasts available on the channel and podcast network. Daily Cog, Breaking Geek cover everything you can imagine in entertainment. Breaking Geek will be reviewing The Flash this week, so be on the lookout for that Friday evening. And, of course, lots of anime content. Speaking of anime, if you are an anime fan, myself and my AVR cohorts, Anime-Versal Reviews cohorts, will be at Anime Expo this year, July 3rd. So keep your eye on the website, our social media information down below. Join our Discord server, link in the description box. And, yeah, I think I've done enough housekeeping and catching up for us not having done one of these in what feels like a few months.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's probably what.
But no news. Like, holy crap.
The reason it's not this. There has been some life issues for me and you, but generally we've been communicating weekly, saying we actually discuss. I mean, we could discuss Star Wars for an hour at any point, but is it worth our time actually producing a show? Would you want to watch it if there's not really a lot of news to discuss? And there just hasn't. There's been little bits, but nothing that is worth talking about. So this person said this. Okay, move on. And it's been a little bit like that. But this week things have changed slightly. Anyway, there's not been a massive amount of news, but there's been a couple of things, and they're absolutely worth us kind of. We want to find out what each other thought and think of these things. So hopefully you will as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess with that, you guys ready to kind of talk about the big news.
Let's jump into it.
One of the biggest things that happened this recently, of course, is what I have been calling the delay apocalypse. You can hear us talk about that on the Daily Cup of Genre. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm looking for the right button. Like I said, it's been a while since we did this. Where is it? There it is. Anyways, the delay apocalypse resulted in a whole bunch of movies from Disney's various studios, to include Star Wars, to be pushed to the right. The long-held December 25 date finally is gone for real, officially pushed to May of 26, and that does look like it's going to be the Rey film. There's another one on December of 2026. We assume that's going to be Filoni's. And then December 17th, 2027 is a third film. Those are the three new dates. With that, Cam, you wrote up this piece, right? Or was this one on Shockey?
No,
Cam
did. So tell us a little bit about what's going on, what movies are what, and
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the first thing to say is probably that this comes as absolutely no surprise, this daily apocalypse, as Kel has been mentioning, because if you've been following lrmonline.com, there's been rumours that a big delay was coming for a while, and then when you factor in the WGA strike, WGA, I don't know what I said there, but it wasn't that, strike, which has currently shut down several Marvel productions. It just, and then if we look at Star Wars, there was never any movie going to come out for that date in 2025. There was nothing anywhere near close to kind of hitting that. It was just never going to happen. So this is absolutely expected. In terms of what those movies are, the truth is we really don't know, do we? You know, you said, Kel, we're making assumptions, and I think I agree with you. That's my assumption. I don't know. I could give you my reasons for why the Rey movie would be up first is because from all the things we've heard about it, it seems to be furthest along. You know, they actually have at least one cast member in place, but we know they've been doing a lot of casting for that movie. They have a director in place, but they also don't have a completed script either for that movie, because as we know, Damon Lindelof moved off that film, and sorry, I'm just going to press a button here. I'm using my daughter's phone and somebody's trying.
No, and then he's gone.
We lost him.
Look what he did. Look what he did. While we wait on him to bring that back, he was mentioning about, and I'm going to try to make it look a little less weird, even though you're seeing two of me now.
Yeah.
Mentioning how long the Rey movie seems to have been worked on. I think it makes as much sense, and now I'm done killing time. Cam's back. I gotta hide myself again.
Right.
There you go.
Sorry
Try
about
again.
That.
Once more with feeling, Cam.
What's happening here is because I'm borrowing my daughter's phone, some of her friends are consistently just trying to call her, and even though I'm hitting decline, they just keep calling back consistently again and again. So, and I then pressed the wrong button, didn't I? And actually, she's having some issues here. As you can see, Kyle might be professional. Mike Shockey's professional. I'm not.
Oh man, you got to see the anime reactions. Just how the dog, the kid, the cats, me, like it is. We are far from professional.
At least you're aiming for it.
There you go. But
yeah.
Anyways,
sorry. What I was saying was, so we definitely don't have any completed scripts for any Star Wars movies, as far as we are aware. We know in terms of the Taika Waititi movie that he says that he's still trying to figure out the second act. Kathleen Kennedy said he still didn't have a third act. Either way, unfinished script at the moment. So, until the script's finished, it's hard to push that ahead. Obviously, I said Stephen Knight has come in to write the Rey movie. We have a WGA strike. So he can't, he can write, but he can't submit any work right now. So that we have to wait for that.
Brainstorm.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're not going to stop people writing. I mean, if you're a creative and you enjoy writing, you're not just going to go, well, I just can't do it.
Not only that,
you're just not going to.
This is the time to get the stuff padded and get ahead of the game, so that way when the gates do open again.
Yeah. Right. The whole point is that you don't submit it and nobody can use your work or get access to your work while the strike is on, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
And we don't know when that'll end or if it'll end anytime soon. So that's a big wrinkle as well. And then if we look at Dave Filoni's movie, we know that he's making a Mandoverse movie. We have no idea what kind of state the script is in for that at all. But since he's been so busy just making Ahsoka and is now in the promotional of Ahsoka, you kind of don't think he's sitting there with an absolute complete script ready to go at this moment in time. So we don't know when that one's exactly coming as well. And then I would think potentially the furthest one out is James Mangold's movie about the Dawn of the Jedi, because Mangold's he's promoting Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny, which he just made. He is then going straight in to make a Bob Dylan biopic straight after that. And then rumour is once that shoot's complete, that's when he's going to sit down, potentially October sometime, and write the Dawn of the Jedi movie, if you like. That might not be the title, that's the era that Star Wars are using right now.
Yeah.
It might be the title, we don't know.
Could be.
So yes, we really don't know. So we've got 3 days, but we genuinely don't know, because theoretically, I mean, you guys know how it works. Mangold could somehow start behind and then fire ahead, couldn't he? I mean,
could.
opinions.
What
do you think, Mike?
got? Yeah, that's why I was going to go to Mike.
So a little bit of it, I think, is more or less just reserving those blocks of time. I don't know if necessarily like we're going to actually see all three hit. I think, like you guys have said, the Ray movie seems to be the furthest along. The Filoni one is interesting because we still have Mando season 4. There's possibly another season 5 of that, or season another season after season 4, because that's what I think Katie Sackhoff and a couple other of the actors have said beforehand, that's their kind of like slip. They're contracted up for 5 seasons. Now it could be that the 5th season just wraps up into a movie instead of it being a Disney Plus season. Then so you have the Ahsoka series. It's not branded as a limited series, so it could possibly lead into a 2nd season of that. There's still the possibility of the Ezra Bridger show, because I know Ezra Bridger's supposed to show up in Ahsoka, but from what I know from the story of Ahsoka and everything, we're not getting a whole lot of Ezra.
Right.
It's more about Ahsoka and her journey to find Ezra than hey, 2nd episode, here's Ezra, and also Thrawn too. So, there's I know it's been not necessarily scrapped 100%, but it's because of the whole Cara Dune situation, Gina Carano. But I think if you saw at the end of season 3 of Mando, they're kind of toying around with that Rangers of the New Republic type show. And seeing if that's a possibly lift off there. So, I think you're right, Cam. It's probably Ray's film. If the WGA strike, ends relatively soon, they can get that one going right away. And then I could see everything. I know there's some of the other podcasters and stuff have said that was probably going to be the spot for Filoni because of May being Star Wars month. But I think this is just too big of a movie.
Quick, it seems.
Too quick. Well, I don't know, because you got to realize, I think Favreau and Filoni have basically fleshed out this story where it's going to end.
Probably.
I think that's true.
We don't know. They could have it all planned in, and Mando season 4, 5, whatever could actually theoretically come in the timeline after the movie, for all we know, because they're not saying the movie's the end, are they? They're saying it's just
correct. It's just an event. Correct. So we could see something like that you're saying, but also I think it's just too much of a too many people have invested, too many outside Star Wars fans are invested into this Mando-verse now to just have it come out in May. The way that the movie, cinema or movie theater business is going right now, we haven't, besides like Top Gun and a couple, like Super Mario Brothers, we haven't had a bunch of big budget movies come out, say summertime and stuff.
Struggling.
It's struggling, and so I could see them waiting for that Mando movie or the Mando-verse movie being in December. Holidays, toy lines to go along with it. I'm with you on that. And you still got the Patty Jenkins film, Rogue Squadron, out there.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean,
supposedly that was a lot farther ahead of a lot farther ahead than what we know about, and that now with Patty Jenkins not working on Wonder Woman, she really has nothing to do. When
but then the last we heard from Kathleen Kennedy,
but she's just a producer, right? Yeah. So when you're a producer, you have a little bit more freedom and time when you're as a producer than director. And then good old Ryan Reynolds is still on board to do his own trilogy.
Ryan Johnson,
Ryan Johnson.
Or Ryan Johnson. Why did I say that?
I was going to say about that major news.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Ryan Johnson is still in line to do his trilogy.
That's not one of those 3 films, though, because
No, right.
He's got Knives Out 3.
But I think it's more or less just holding on to just picking those dates out more or less, and just have them. And so if something's ready, there you go. Because if I'm Kathleen Kennedy, I'd rather have those dates locked in. If I'm Lucasfilm, then okay, we need a date. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, here we can't fit it in, or we're competing against this. So it's kind of competition going against now that Warner Brothers and Disney, Disney with Marvel and Lucasfilm, they've kind of taken a step back to, Warner Brothers now having kind of a little bit of a steam with James Gunn and his push for DC films out there, and the Illuminations with Super Mario Brothers and a couple other films. So I think it's more of a defensive play than offensive play, saying we're gonna grab these dates up, and if we don't make it, fine, we'll just we'll put them back in in the market is open, but we want to claim these 3 up so then at least we have them. So if some of these projects start running ahead and getting done, we've got them. We don't have to compete with other films and those dates there.
Well, what do you guys think of the what do you guys think of the whole, can I find, where's my kit? There it is. I'll get used to it. What do you guys think of the fact that they are at least holding 2 dates in 1 year? I've pointed out in our conversations in Discord and even on our work Slack, that because of their past history, I think even putting 2 dates in one year is very, very iffy, especially if that first one that hits isn't good, and then you have 6 months down the road another one. Like, that was kind of what some people blame a little bit on Solo's performance, was people were still dealing with The Last Jedi.
Yeah, but there's 2 factors to that, though. There was one.
There's a lot that goes in. There's a lot goes into
it.
There's a lot goes into Solo. I'm just saying,
just wasn't that good, and
it was.
And Disney will never turn around and say that. They'll never blame. Yeah, the movie wasn't really as good as it could.
If it was as good as people say, it would have made more money. But I do believe that because of The Last Jedi, that there was enough people that were kind of, put off by Star Wars, that having it happen again, because now you would be looking at the Rise of Sky, or excuse me, The Last Jedi, divisive, however you want to say it, Solo severely underperformed, and The Rise of Skywalker almost universally panned or med for for the foreseeable future, until the kids that liked it grow up and do the same thing to the PT fans that they did to us OT fans.
And it was also the only third movie of a trilogy that made less than the second movie of a trilogy. That's what I'm saying is so you've basically had 3 kind of iffy films with the fans at various levels. Mm-hmm. This next one has to be, Cam, you and I have been saying for a minute, like, the next big screen Star Wars adventure has to be a knockout, because if it's not, can the franchise recover from that? Maybe, but could they recover from it 6 months down the road? Yeah, not quickly, no. Because even if the second film is good, it would have to have legs to keep going through good word of mouth, and even then some people might be like, you know what, I'm not listening again. I went to the last one, this is now the 4th film,
the last
really
3, 4
so fool me once, fool me 4 times, I'm an idiot. I'll catch it in Disney Plus and judge it then, and that's where you've got a serious risk of happening. And you're talking about The Last Jedi. If The Last Jedi had been universally loved and everybody was saying what a great Star Wars film and how hyped they want to see what come next, then Solo probably gets a buff,
little bump.
Yeah,
not maybe huge. It's still a mess of a movie. It's still not good, movie, but it would get a bit of a bump.
Hyped about Star Wars instead. Off at Star Wars.
What do you think? What do you think, Mike? You think they're just potentially placeholders? Do you think they would seriously release 2 in 1 year?
Yeah, because I think now what Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy are trying to do now is more of the Marvel model, where films are not going to be closely aligned. It's like having Captain America come out in the summer, and then in the wintertime having a Thor movie come out, or Black Panther movie. So the interconnectedness is that it's Star Wars, and if you have 2 films that are close, like what we saw with the prequel trilogies, with the sequel trilogies, and Solo was connected to that, in a sense, because we did have Han Solo's character in the sequel trilogy, and kind of that. Yeah, I could see there be some problems there, but if you do something, say the Rey story, which is on one end of the timeline, and say a Dawn of the Jedi storyline, then you're okay there. If you do
even if the first one is. Because
you look at Thor, second Thor movie.
Phase 4. Look at Phase 4 though.
Phase 4 in general.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
There's been 3 prior movies,
but I think Phase 4
and you get bad after bad.
I understand.
Sorry.
Much, but
I get what you guys are saying with Phase 4. I agree with you. Marvel Phase 4, not the greatest, but I also think it was living up to these you're never going to meet the expectations of what Endgame and what that whole
Star Wars has been trying to live up to the OG since
right. Right, you're never going to live up to the original trilogy, and that I don't ever think you're going to get that same type of feeling, Cam, you had, going to see it in the theaters, or Kyle and I when we were kids watching on VHS and having the choice. We're never going to get that moment ever again. But when you're talking about a business and making money, I think it's there. Now, you look at what Marvel, there was some misses during Phase 1, 2, and 3. The second Thor movie was, not good.
3 was solid.
3 was solid, right? But you got to remember, in the second Thor, I can't remember what it was.
The Dark World.
Dark World. Yeah, there we go. That bad, but it was still. Yeah, it still, didn't deter Feige and Marvel from coming out with,
it was cheap. It was fairly cheap to make, and it made money, and that's the difference. Marvel weren't pushing
Star Wars.
Budget-wise, Star Wars.
You put Star Wars on anything, it's going to make you money. How much money? That's the difference.
But when do you get to the point where, and this is just, I'm not saying, I'm just hypothetically saying this, when do you get to the point where instead of being a plus having those 2 words in something, it starts to become a negative connotation for fans because you've not been making good products? That will happen. It's like the Happy Days situation. If you run out of ideas, no matter how popular your show is, nobody ever thought people would stop watching Happy Days, but they ran out of ideas and it fell away a little bit.
But that's also,
we see that a lot.
That's also why I'm kind of in my head in business wise thinking that I don't think, unless it's 2 out of the park films, they're going to come out with 2 films in one year. I think that's why they have 2 placeholders. If the Rey film is not done in time for May, they have the December placeholder, so it doesn't get pushed back to a random August date or something that's just in the middle of the does not a good movie time period. So I think it's a smart business move from Lucasfilm or whoever made that decision. All right, we need to start locking up dates because for a while now. I mean, this goes all the way back, I think, to the pre-COVID. I called this, from, what I had in my sources. It was kind of the Star Wars fatigue. This was still when Chapek was the CEO. He just taken over. And the decision was that Lucasfilm was going to take a pause on theatrical releases. And when this was pre-COVID, and when I made this story, and it was 2024 was the earliest we were going to see a film, 2023, end of 2023, beginning of 2024. And everybody thought I was crazy. And COVID kind of helped it out.
2026.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And now look at it. We're it's being pushed far. I think that, whoever, has been in charge or whatever shuffle they've made at Lucasfilm has realized it's more about quality rather than quantity. But at the same time, too, you don't want to be caught with a good film releasing in a random August date. There are specific windows you have with theatrical releases, and so you look at Tom Cruise and what he did with Top Gun Maverick. He waited and waited and waited and kept on waiting for so he knew that it was going to be a perfect window, perfect opportunity to get people back in theaters. Boom. Super Mario Brothers, same thing. They waited for that that prime spot to release that film, and kids going from all spring break, that was basically their window, was every single spring break, kids getting out of school, elementary school kids. What are you going to do? We're going to take our kids to the movie theaters and kill 3 hours there with them, buy them a bunch of popcorn and watch. So is there a possibility of 2 films? Yes. But is there also a possibility of them just holding those place markers for 1 film and saying, okay, if we get it done early enough, we'll release it in May. Probably, it'll be a Star Wars Celebration weekend with May 22nd. They'll tie it in all together, make a big celebration out of it. That's why I kind of with you, Cam, and stuff, saying it's the Rey film, because you have May the 4th and the holiday there, but usually traditionally Star Wars Celebrations at the end of May. That's a perfect weekend. You can book up the promotions all up for that. That's a free convention to promote your film, have everybody go out there and see it. But then also December is a good spot too, because that's the holidays and you want
Let me ask
they've
you
made
both
it a thing
this,
for
though.
them. Sure. What up?
If you were in KK's position and all these movies end up kind of dropping at the same time, what order would you put them out in? And I'll preface that by giving you my own answer first of all, because the Rey movie would not be the first one that I did, because I think there's more risk attached to that because of the negative connotations of the sequel trilogy.
Yep.
Who's the director for that one? Did they announce that one?
Charmin Obaid Chinoy.
That's right. Yeah.
Is, as you would imagine, fairly, new to this size of a feature. Let's just put it that way.
I agree.
But then everybody starts somewhere. So were the Russos,
I would have.
I don't know. What do you think?
I would have tried to get the Mando-verse movie out first, simply because that's what's mostly popular right now, and that builds a little bit more goodwill, if you will. Of course, I've wanted to do what Mangold's going to do, and we'll talk about a story with that here in a few, and that's go 1,000 years in the future or 1,000 years in the past. I don't know how many years he's going, but I want to go somewhere where the names of Palpatine and Skywalker better not be fracking mentioned. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't. I love Luke Skywalker's character. I love the original Star Wars story and a lot of stuff that went on in the EU, but I am so sick and tired of having to deal with the exact same freaking crap in such a tight time slot, era, that I don't want them mentioned at all. So 1,000 years, that's what I would have probably done is Mando, Mangold, and then Rey.
I gotta see how Ahsoka and season 4 of Mando do before if I'm in charge, right? Because right now, not saying it's horrible, but Book of Boba Fett was a miss for the Mando-verse. Okay, season 3 of Mando did not get the great reviews. I know it's kind of divisive. There's some that are really in love with it.
Man, some people loved that.
Yeah. Whew. I have my issues with especially with the ending of season 3 of Mando. And another time, another place for that one. So if Ahsoka hits it out of the park, if season 4 of Mando hits it out of the park, and the other mystery project that I'm pretty sure they've got going on hits out of the park, and they're 3 for 3, and it's building up to this kind of ultimate, battle between whether it's the New Republic and the Old Empire, whatever, Thrawn versus Luke,
the Remnant versus the New Republic type deal.
If it's built up that way, then I come out with that first. If it's not though, then I go with the Rey one, because as much as there's controversy with the sequel trilogy, you got to think that those kids that do like the sequel trilogy and fans of Rey will definitely gravitate more to that, closer to now. For us, the older fans, probably not. Yeah, well, I mean,
I was gonna say, I don't know if there's been enough time passed for them to be able to drag their
they'll be in high school.
Older siblings there.
Listen.
That's true.
The
last one was 2019. You're talking already freaking
Yep.
7 years later.
Right,
That's
you're
a good point.
high school kids. They'll
God.
go to the movie theaters.
Do you guys understand? Like, hey, prequel fans and Mike, you guys do realize that everything you did to us, that these sequel fans are going to do to you.
I'm an
enjoy
OT
the shit
and
out of it.
prequel fan. Yeah, listen, I love Star Wars in general and stuff, but I realize that there are some things built and made for young kids, you know, and that sequel trilogy, I sit and I watch over again and stuff when it's on TNT, and I think it doesn't do anything for me, but I know that there's some kid that was 4 or 5 years old when those movies came out that will be a teenager when the new Rey trilogy, Rey movie comes out, probably be a trilogy.
Poor bastards.
Yeah, and they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, and they're gonna go live that up.
Yep. Alrighty then. Well, we ready to talk about one of these movies a little bit more in depth? That James Mangold film,
the Kenobi film. What?
Oh my God! Have you tried? Have you brought yourself to go watch that again?
Yeah, it's really have you seen the fan edit one?
No, I've not seen a fan edit.
You gotta watch it. It's really good. He changes it.
Was that the one where he tries to make it a movie?
Yeah, he makes it a movie. He changes some of the scenes. Change some of the gripes that you made, like for example, the scene where Kenobi and Vader are fighting. What planet was
the
on?
fire? But
the fire burning scene. He alters the dialogue. He goes through and splices, and it's really cool. He splices dialogue from the original trilogy and stuff to make it so that he it's not just him just watching him run away. He's like, I'm gonna let him suffer some more.
But that still doesn't make sense because he immediately goes in every freaking episode chasing after Kenobi and is pissed when he gets away.
Listen,
that never makes sense.
I get it. I understand it. It's a Susan B. Anthony right there. Okay.
Do so much.
I'm telling you, he cuts out so much dead stuff. The Inquisitors don't play a big part in the film. It's more between Kenobi and Vader, and of course Leia being a part of it. The long drawn out scene of Leia running around the woods, averting 4 grown men. That's all basically done in like 10 seconds now and stuff. It's life changing. I think that if I was in charge,
oh my God,
if I was in charge of Lucasfilm, I would be thinking about releasing this in theaters and be like, hey guys, what you saw on Disney Plus, scrap that. Let's watch this film instead. And that's the real Kenobi. The guy did an amazing job. You have to download it, and it's not on YouTube or anything like that. You can find it. He's got a Google Drive.
Do what your rank can handle out there, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah. I mean, look, I'm not against it's a
great fan edit
things like that. But there to me is still so many core things, even with just Leia herself, that you can't cut enough out of that for me to be like, it's worth it. And then you can't color correct the god awful blue.
He does.
You cannot.
He does.
The blue is fixed in
he
the
does
shots.
He does a lot of editing to it.
I'll have to check it out.
I'm telling you. Listen, if we have a week where, like in July, where there's nothing going on or whatever, then we say, okay, we watch on our own, watch the fan edit, and that's will be our Cantina episode and stuff. He plays like Duel of the Fates in the last fight.
I've already fought cancer twice. I don't need to fight it a third time. Okay.
Listen.
Get eye cancer, brain. No, I'm joking. I'm glad there's something out there, and that is kind of cool. I am kind of interested to see what type of changes something like that made. So James Mangold, Dawn of the Jedi era, not necessarily title of this film. Cam, fill us in.
Well, he spoke to Comic Book recently. Obviously, he's promoing for Indiana Jones, but what's quite surprising is, because maybe we have a different thought process in this, but one of the things he kind of praised when he spoke to Comic Book was that he kind of was the freedom that he gets at Lucasfilm to kind of do his own thing. So I'll quote him here. Well, I think the simplest level is movies are all about people, and I've gotten to know everybody involved in all walks of life at Lucasfilm and Disney, and that certainly makes it easier. And the amount of trust and the amount of the freedom that they give you, they give to me, is honestly the most important aspect of making a movie like this. And I guess that's maybe not the image that we have of Lucasfilm, but I guess they are a bit more, give the creatives their own free them to do things. It's just that when they eventually do it and Kathleen Kennedy doesn't like it, she just fires them and does something else anyway. That's the kind of issue that we've seen happen before.
But she's being fired, guys, right now. Sources say for the last 5 years.
And he talks a lot about that whole kind of committee process in terms of, because where big movies can get into trouble is when they become a committee films. And we all know what those films feel like and look like. And to me, they're not only, I don't enjoy those kind of movies so much, but on another level, I certainly don't want to make one because I don't feel connected to what I'm doing. I'm just performing a service and acting what a committee has come up with. For me, if I'm not involved in the writing and what the story is, I don't know why I'm there directing it. I mean, and he will be writing this movie as well, and it is kind of writing it from scratch. And since he is going away off in his own direction, it just does kind of give him the freedom to not be, shall we say, as bogged down by a lot of the lore and all the things that's going on in the background. Although there's still going to be a little bit of that there. He spoke to IO9 recently as well. Again, promotional trail for Indiana Jones. And a little bit different answer here, but what he said here was, well, I've talked to Lucasfilm before and even worked a bit before on other projects. Don't know which ones he worked on. Mangold told IO9, and I'm always interested in what's going on there, and I have friends who work on other Star Wars projects, but I understand that much of what they were doing was kind of continuing the saga forward. So when I mentioned to Kathy Kennedy the idea that I had was about going backwards, really far backwards, I was surprised that it excited her and the other wonderful people she works with at Lucasfilm. For me, it's about, I want to be part of the saga, but also don't want to be holding so much lore in the air that you can hardly tell a story. And what I really wanted to and will do, and what I told her was, can we just make a kind of the 10 Commandments of the Force, a kind of origin story of how the Force came to be known, understood, wielded, and harnessed. What do you think?
I'm down. I mean, one, I think where it mentions, talked with Lucasfilm before, and worked a bit before on other projects. That Boba Fett movie that Kennedy said never went anywhere. Anyone think that's what it? Why does she? That's what I don't get about her, and it's one of the most frustrating things because it's one of two things. Either one, she is so disorganized and has so much going on within this one thing that she can't even remember which projects have actually legitimately been worked on and which one hasn't, or she outright lies. Neither one of those two things. No, neither one of those two things bodes well. Being a liar like that, especially about something so small, doesn't really sit well with me. So I'm actually kind of leaning towards she's got so much in the air officially and unofficially that she doesn't even know what is what. And that to me is worse than the lie than the potential of her being a liar. And it's because it wouldn't make no sense to lie about something like, yeah, we were working on it, but it didn't pan out. Pfft, there it goes. You know what I'm saying? So that's weird to me, but that might not be it. We might be reading into things, whatever. But 1,000, like I said, take me somewhere where where the core of it is there's the Force, there's some stars. No.
Emperor Palpatine.
No. there's the Force, there's some planets. I'm down with it. Like I've said, I would amalgamate things like the hyperspace wars with some of the other Force wars that went on and create like a really cool Sith versus Jedi grand epic like scale,
he's aiming even before that, almost like the first people discovering that. I mean, I'm
down with that too. I'm down with that too, because you get to the primordial Force users and you still end up with the light versus the dark, but at a more primitive level, and I'm down with that.
Go there eventually.
I would love to
what's going to be exciting is when they tie it into The Last Jedi to the the Jedi text in the old
Well, I mean, I guess
that's fine.
You would actually expect that to
that would be fine. Yeah, but I just don't. I don't want to.
They're going to put it in the tree just like that. It's going to be
I mean, you would expect maybe if that carries on that they do end up at that Ash.
They're gonna have to go to Act 2 at some point.
All ties back to Ryan Johnson.
Or even Jeddah, or maybe Jeddah's too.
I can already
soon.
see
Jeddah's
Janet
probably
just eating it up too. Ugh, gotta hate that guy.
Yeah.
Listen, I love.
What do you think, Shockey?
I love Mangold as a director. So, like, the only film that I wasn't a big fan of, I enjoyed, but I wasn't in love with it as everybody else, was Logan. I thought the Wolverine was better.
I don't care for Logan.
Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't but I love Ford versus Ferrari. What he did, the Wolverine, 310 to Yuma. Any of the old school, he does a lot of historical movies. I know he's kind of back and forth, but he did Walk the Line.
That was really good.
That was really good. Yeah. And then one of I think it's in my, if I had to list the top 10 movies of all time, whatever.
I can't believe someone once told Reese Witherspoon she was not cute enough or pretty enough to be in Hollywood, and that she didn't have the talent for it. Holy crap. Anyways. Yeah,
but so yeah, he's got a great list of movies. It's a wide variety, which I like too. So doing something like that that we're going into for the Dawn of the Jedi, where it's thousands of years, way past what we're talking about with the Battle of Yavin and the original trilogy. Going almost.
I mean, it's 25,000 years.
Yeah, 25,000.
They have said that specifically.
Oh, 25. Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
And it's almost, and they've kind of mentioned, it's going biblical, in the foundation of Christianity, almost, and stuff.
Ten Commandments.
Ten Commandments. Ben-Hur. He's got to mention that. So it's going to be interesting. He's going to be very unique, very new. For any type of Star Wars fan, whether it's the old school original trilogy people, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, people that are just fans of the animated series and stuff, this connects it all because it is the Force, and that's what pretty much every single Star Wars story has been about, minus Solo. Everything else has been has some sort of tie to the Force. So yeah, this is kind of the origin story, and so it'll be interesting to see.
I know something that doesn't have a tie to the Force, which is the game that's coming in.
Yeah. We got.
You don't know that yet.
Well, I mean, I guess not, but there's no evidence of that at the moment.
Plot twist: this person's going to end up having Force abilities, get a lightsaber, save the planet.
In the middle of. Because the timeline for this game, what we're talking about here, guys, is Star Wars Outlaws, which, if you don't know, there was a gameplay trailer this weekend, and prior to that, there was a cinematic trailer. And I think the cinematic trailer was, it was all right, but these cinematic trailers, it's just a bit of CGI. You can do anything you want with Star Wars CGI at the end of the day.
Star Wars Eclipse, anyone?
Yeah, I mean, that looked great, and there is no actual game really behind that in any way whatsoever. It's literally just a video now. But we did see a gameplay trailer. So I take it you've both watched that gameplay trailer, the kind of full thing?
Yes.
What did you guys think of it?
Shockey?
It kind of reminds me of Grand Theft Auto, just being able to go wherever you want and however you want. It was cool. I watched the gameplay trailer, and then I watched some others, from other news outlets and kind of their breakdowns of it and stuff, and noticing, there's some of the things that they noticed I didn't really pick up on, where ships are landing, and you can actually go to that spaceport and see who's on that ship that landed, and a lot of different things. Overall, gameplay was good. The hindrance for me that will always be is that it's Star Wars and space battles, and the gameplay for the space battles didn't seem all that exciting for me. I think there's only been one game, the X-Wing, series on PC, or X-Wing versus TIE Fighter on PC, is the only game that has really kind of gotten the true space battle, gameplay.
Rogue Squadron and Rogue Leader on the Nintendo.
Those were pretty decent.
Yeah, they were.
They're arcade shooters though, and that's kind of what Squadrons tried to be, and that's not what I was talking about this the other day, and that's not what it's definitely not what I want. I want a fighter sim. I want a modern fighter sim, and someone did do a remake of X-Wing, but it's like unofficial and stuff like that. To me, what it kind of looked like, and this isn't a bad thing at all, it looked like Horizon Zero Star Wars, which is fine. I love Horizon Zero Dawn, but that's kind of the feeling because you see some of the sneaky elements, which makes sense as a smuggler, outlaw, underworld, person. You're not going to always be going in guns blazing. So the idea of doing sneak missions makes sense. You get vehicles, you get to go around this big open world setting. There's nothing in this to me that is screaming, day zero purchase. But there's nothing telling me that I won't change my mind to that. I'm really happy that they delivered the gameplay footage. As I'm trying to skip through the video for those of you that are watching on YouTube. I'm really happy they did that because, like we mentioned, Star Wars Eclipse, something that is now literally just a video. And then instead we get something that we know is at least got some actual game mechanics and engines running and not just cinematics. I mean, there's all sorts of controversy with it too. Kotaku tried to come out and do the men hate women because people are complaining about this, and then they got
I did see some complaints from people saying like, why is that a female? I don't want to be
I know, and I'm not saying that there weren't. Kotaku's thing was they were saying that this game's reaction to this game means or proves that we need more female protagonists, and then people just ripped them with the dozens and dozens of female protagonists that never raise an eyebrow. That being said, I'm just saying there is stuff with the game. None of that matters to me. I don't have any care for this. Every Star Wars game that has come out since the purchase has been a disappointment to me in one way or another. They haven't necessarily been bad games, but none of them have been great games.
Jedi Survivor was good. I liked or what was it, Fallen Order or Fallen Order? Yeah, the first one. Jedi Fallen Order, I'll give it hands down. That was a great game. The Battlefront games, minus its Battlefront 2's issues with the loot crate issues and stuff like that, have always been fun. But those are on you're doing that to play online more than anything else. The Star Wars Old Republic games, what is it, MMORPG,
But those are prior to the purchase. I'm talking since. I'm talking where is our coder? Where is our Dark Forces? Where is our Jedi Outcast? We had so many great games, and I get Jedi Survivor. I played it on the PS5. So many, or not Survivor, the first Fallen Order. So many graphical issues. It was the Force. That was the problem with it. It was nothing new. It was nothing great, and it was stuck again in a time period that I'm getting really sick and tired of being in. Like I said, none of them were necessarily bad games, although that one did have graphical issues on the PS5, and I hear the sequel was even worse. But it's not that any of them have. Just nothing has been. Woo! I haven't experienced that for a Star Wars video game in a long time. Hopefully this is it though.
Game I've played now for going on 5-6 years is Star Wars Galaxy Heroes.
Oh God.
Mobile gaming, yes, it has its issues. You don't get me. But that game is legit. That's what's kept me around gaming wise for a while. I get you. I feel the same way. This game, I probably won't get day one unless we're told by our bosses that we got to play it, type deal and stuff, and we got to do a reaction to it. Then fine, I'll do it.
I thought might totally send it like a fake email. They say
that would be hilarious.
I would love a new real-time strategy, especially like a space-oriented one. Take Homeworld and the Homeworld like Star Wars mods that they've done, and give us a 3D space RTS
simple enough
where you are where you're controlling the fleets, guys. Imagine your armada of Imperial Star Destroyers, and you set that interdictor cruiser to make sure you can rip asshole rebels out of hyperspace, and you're sending wave after wave of squints and eyeballs after them. Like, give it.
Just give me another Battlefront. I'm good with that. Just give
it's been done so many times.
I know, but it's just like Call of Duty's been done so many times. Just
I don't play that.
Give me another. I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple guy. First person shooter.
Get on your way in the universe.
60 other people. Last man standing. Type deal. No, but I will say this: it was a ballsy decision. I'm not saying it was wrong or not, but to make it a female protagonist. Knowing that
without create a character,
without create a character,
that's been the biggest complaint I've heard. I don't care,
but see, I think the idea is they want the character maybe to continue, and you do that, you need to create a character and give them a backstory. If you do have to create a character because you're creating your own world in the video game, then you are the player. It's a little bit different.
I got a big picture of Aloy right there. I'm down.
I just think it was like from a business perspective in that game to make that call, because majority of gamers are guys, right? And so unless
I like to play.
But we don't mind playing girls. I play girls all the time. I just mentioned that.
Right, but you are the minority in that.
I play
Horizon, Metroid,
people do both.
Resident Evil. Like, that's the mistake Kotaku made, was like, the boys don't want to play with girls characters, and that's why we need more. And I'm like, no, it's.
I mean, the Resident Evil was always two, wasn't it? You always had a man and a woman.
Right, there was, but
them.
Resident Evil 3 was only.
No, I know what you're saying, mate.
You play as Carlos, but it's not selectable.
I was a ballsy decision.
I think people that are looking for excuses to have a go at this. And they see that and it just go, oh, here we go again, and not looking at the history of gaming, which has actually been a lot better than the movie genre for this, in the past.
No, I get you. I'm just saying, from a business making standpoint, if I'm in charge of a game studio developing a game and saying, hey, who's your lead character? And I'm like, ooh, that's gonna be, you better sell it right, and stuff. And the way that a lot of these video games sell a female lead is the kind of the anime style, the big boobs, and looking, the sex sells type deal. And then you go in this route where a Star Wars female protagonist is fully covered up and everything. Not saying it's the wrong decision or anything, but you got to know your clientele and your business and who's buying games. And we buy games, of course, but who's your number one consumer are, prepubescent to to teenage boys. And if you are going to sell a female character, unfortunately, you got to do, the anatomically incorrect type females,
I don't think you have to.
Look at gaming sales. Look at the Resident Evil games.
I'm just when I was young. I mean, when Lara Croft looked like a shady wheel. When people really started playing with it, it was like.
It's not about that, right? But it's not about
who can get attracted
the graphics. But when you look at the cover of that video game for Resident Evil, and you see a woman running around in a zombie apocalypse with a crop top and short shorts.
Resident Evil 3.
I mean, come on.
I get what you mean.
But here's the thing, Shockey. I think honestly, if this was an original IP, take everything, the character models, everything except the licensed Star Wars aesthetics, I don't think people have as much of an issue with this. I think people are overly sensitive, and not saying that they're not saying that they don't have a reason to be overly sensitive with it when it comes to Star Wars. But I think people are very, very skeptical of whenever Star Wars puts something these days that is female led, because they are looking at Kathleen Kennedy's, the Force is female stuff, when Star Wars was already pretty damn female. And then they start looking at how many projects are either female led or co-led, and how few are male led these days. And I'll always bring up, I don't like hypocrisy. We were told, well, it's hard for people to look at, it's not easy for everyone to look at Luke Skywalker and see themselves in him. got you, tracking. So that means you should have both a Luke Skywalker and someone that doesn't look like Luke Skywalker going forward, right? No, instead they just take away the Luke Skywalker and only give you the what wasn't Luke Skywalker. And that to me is a little hypocritical. Not every choice is because of that, but you can definitely see people being more sensitive to it.
Yeah,
I
get you. It's just the problem for me, or not problem, but I'm just saying, in the video game world, I know there's a lot more women playing video games, and it's grown since we were playing video games in the 80s and 90s, correct? And
most of them like big booby girls, not uggos. Just saying, most of the females prefer attractive female play characters. Why
what you're seeing in Fable. One of the most watched females, on social media and television, because they're beautiful and stuff. For me, it was just it was an interesting play from a video game studio to do that. It's a roll of the dice. You're gonna get from the first second you release that trailer and gameplay footage, in today's social media realm, you're gonna get a lot of pushback from that. Yeah. And that pushback is coming from people that give you money. So was there a different way they could have promoted and marketed? Because I know that one of the complaints that I saw a lot online was that, I thought this game you were going to be able to create your own character. Yeah. And that got flipped to, nope, you're not. Here's your character, and this is what it leads to. This is the story you're going to go to. So maybe more information coming up front, instead of it being hey, create a character. It's going to be a smuggler, female smuggler and stuff, so that people have time to, in their mind to prepare. I don't know. But it's in a franchise right now that is not a guarantee. It used to be a guaranteed
safer
blockbuster. There was a moment where you could throw anything out there with Star Wars and it was going to make you money. Now it's not a guarantee.
I'm imagining whoever designed the game designed it as a female character, and if we're saying as a business decision, someone would then go and say, hey, I want this to make money, change that from a girl back to a guy again, then we're right back to where we started. We're right back to the 1980s again, because that's what was happening. We can't do that. I think if the game's got great word of mouth and people are saying it works really well, they won't care. They will not care about the character. But if it's a crap story and the game's not good, they'll have a go at the character. But really, it's just that the game wasn't good.
That to me is the key. I think people are just so sensitive when it comes to Star Wars. There's no trust. There's no goodwill, and that causes people to connect it to anything and everything they can to find a reason to hate it.
Like I said, entire communities out there that are built upon finding things to moan about, and then they all get behind it and get the pitchforks out and go,
listen,
like this.
One of the most, but the thing is like one of the most popular characters right now in Star Wars that's making that franchise money is Ahsoka, right? Yeah. Anything and that's a female, and the way that she was introduced, and the way that character
people hated her at first as well.
Correct.
Did they? I don't know.
And that Clone Wars film was
the cartoon movie. I remember the movie. People hated the movie.
Terrible idea. It was another nail in the coffin for me when I watched that. I just thought, this is a terrible idea.
That movie. Yeah, well, listen, it was a one of George Lucas's crazy ideas.
Many bad ideas.
Hey, we're gonna come out with a cartoon series. Hey, let's take 3 episodes, merge it into one. We'll release it as a theatrical film. We'll introduce this new character. It'd be great. Everyone's gonna love it. Yeah, no. So, but I mean, you look at cosplayers for Star Wars. I would say it's almost, I think it's almost taken over as more female cosplayers are doing Star Wars, whether it's Ahsoka, whether it's Bo-Katan, whether Padme, Leia still and stuff. The female thing is not the issue. Is this that in video games it is like that's
because because while the women Star Wars fans are making their suit for the next Comic-Con, the guys are sitting playing Battlefront or whatever.
Yeah, and that's so
making their suit till last minute, and they go,
right,
I'm gonna wear a Star Wars t-shirt, man.
You know, to me, that's where I'm just I hope it sells well. I hope the game does good. I mean, for Star Wars, but as a business, that's a risky gamble there.
I wanted to just say a couple of things about the game because I don't really can get a chance to put my thoughts in. Because what I wanted to talk about was just some that pleased me and kind of I thought could be improved as well, and it was the whole transition. So what I've always wanted to do in a game is you're on planet, you get in a ship flies up, goes into space, and then jumps to hyperspace, and you're at another planet, and you can land on that planet. And we saw that happen, and it was 8 out of 10, really, really good for me. Exactly what I'm looking for like that's the next gen to me. Then we can do that seamlessly. My only criticism of that in the game was the transition from terrestrial to space. They didn't seem to have any idea of what to do with a loading screen. So you go into some clouds and then it gets cloudy, and then you're in space. I didn't like that, and I can't think what I would do instead because they have to. But the hyperdrive is great because you could just you punch into hyperdrive.
You gotta hide the load somehow.
And then you're at the new planet. How do you do it? But I don't know how you do that. But I think they could have found a slightly better way than the clouds, because imagine when you go to different planets, is that going to be the same in every planet? You hit the clouds, and then
what if the camera comes and swings around to the cockpit and zooms into the cockpit, and you say something in between the transitions, and then it swings back around?
I mean,
and
that's a bloody good idea,
out in space.
But why didn't anyone think of that in the game?
Guys, I'm right here. Lucasfilm and LucasArts or Lucasfilm Games or whatever you're called these days. I'm right here, guys, and also Take-Two. I promise you, your idea for the next BioShock is nowhere near as good as ours. Bet. I will make you the best game ever.
Clockwork Revolution. I want to talk to you about that, but that's a different thing for a different time. What I was wondering as well is, like, see when you go up, like, and the fighters start attacking, can you just bug out and go back down, or are you locked?
Right, yeah.
These are the kind of things I want to know as well. Can I just go back, get through the loading animation, and back in terrestrial again? That'd be interesting. Because
like different planets could have different types of atmospheric pressure. So like, you think of Revenge of the Sith when they save Chancellor Palpatine and they're coming in the, what is it called, the spaceship, or the capital spaceship is burning through the atmosphere, and stuff. You do that, for different planets there, and go from the others. I don't know.
Well, if it works, but we've saw from the recent Starfield sort of footage that they've got that, up and down, anywhere, go, jump, go to a different planet, fly into it, all that sort of stuff. And all I'm saying
all
is
at a brisk 30 frames per second.
Yeah, but
I wonder if they're gonna add the Holdo maneuver into that game.
Oh God.
But I'm wondering,
you, just drones.
Do we actually are we restricted that way? Like that it's a bit more scripted than what it looks like? But that would be big to me in terms of the immersion, and it would help me enjoy the game. I'm just not sure what I saw of the ground-based stuff would interest me enough. I would just want to fly about in the spaceships and go back and forth.
That's what I want. Yep.
Telling you guys that modern, but here's the problem: is at least for PCs. Flight sticks these days are stupid expensive. Yeah. Back in the heyday of Microsoft Flight Simulator in the past, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, when you had all your like F-22 Raptor sims and your F-18 Hornet sims and stuff like that, you could go to Babbage's.
Oh my god!
Yeah, right. And or Walmart and pick up a flight stick, a joystick, a simple one for $30.
Yep.
Even the simplest ones today are like $90, and you're just like, oh my god. So I don't even think that. Yeah, because I don't think the infrastructure is there anymore
no
for
one
flight
plays
simulators.
And
that makes no sense.
I think
the ones who do
why not?
They see the game that you two want. I think they make that. You two are happy with it, but it doesn't sell.
Most people
big.
aren't. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not what people are looking for.
It used to be such a.
It's not social enough. It's kind of that nerdy thing where you sit and you...
Man, today, because I couldn't play on so X-Wing Ultimate Alliance was one of the ones. I mean, you could play on the other ones, but that was one of the ones when the internet was, finally getting big enough and not pervasive, but proliferated enough into households that online gaming was much easier, faster, and better. You're telling me that you don't want to sit there and be like, all right, Red 2, I need you to sit there and head out to out to port. We're gonna do. You know what I'm saying?
Battlefront games with my pals, and we were like, as soon as we went in, we
but
were
an arcade. No, the arcade stuff where the space stops and there's walls and stuff. No. It's not the same. It's not the same. You gotta be able to. You got to be able to go with all your shields. Got to be you got to be able to adjust shields and engines and lasers. You got to be a.
There's a community.
How do people not want that?
There is a community for them, but it's not a big community. I'm sorry to tell you. There's, you're not going to get as many people jumping on Flight Sim, even if you had a Star Wars thing in it, as you are GTA 6 when it comes out. Because people would rather run about in a tank, blowing people up with stupid machine guns and pigging up, hookers and killing them and stuff like that.
Guys, today we could get actual Death Star runs, and I don't mean arcade ones on rails. I mean literal, where there's a full-fledged Death Star, and you could fly around all 360 freaking degrees of it. Like I would have that today.
But I like the more arcadey style rather than the semi, kind of thing. As long as there's that there that I get the freedom to move about as well, and I want to just mess about. I don't know. We maybe want different things from games.
We've done it again, guys. We've gone over an hour, and I hate that. I used to get onto Breaking Geek about it all the time. Stay under an hour. And now
what if you had a Star Wars game
once a month at the moment?
What if you had just a Star Wars game where you were a UPS delivery guy, where you just had a spaceship, you had deliveries made, you go from planet to planet, drop it off, take off.
That would make money as long as you never made it AAA, and you weren't trying to go for that budget. That would make money. If you made a mobile game like that and you could literally jump from system to system and they found a way to make it cheap, that would make money. It would.
Get on.
That's the kind of things people.
It's like the Sims version of Star Wars.
They wouldn't do it as a job, but they'll sit for hours doing it.
I'll take
another universe.
I'll take a fighter sim and an RTS game, like a fleet RTS game. Those are my dreams. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed what you heard, check out the GenreVerse's other great content: Daily Cog, Breaking Geek Radio, and of course Anime-Versal Reviews and AVR Squared. Look for the Flash review from Breaking Geek Radio, and again, if it's not a reaction video, all the podcasts go up on your favorite podcast apps. Leave a like, dislike if you have to, comment, and of course follow, subscribe, and check out LRMonline.com every day for all written news, celebrity interviews from the LRM YouTube channel, and more. Shockey, what do you got for the people?
Mark and I are going to be at Heroes Con this weekend, one of the big comic conventions here in the South in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're going to kind of give a report on that. If you're in the Carolina area or Charlotte area, you should definitely check out. It's one of the coolest comic conventions you can go to, especially if you're into comic books, because it's one of the few traditional comic conventions that are still around today.
There will be more joining soon as the convention apocalypse continues.
Yeah, there will be, but this is the one that's always stayed true to its roots about being just about comics and a ton of comic artists out there and everything. And then I'm gonna try and dabble my way through F1 23. It comes out tomorrow on PlayStation 5. I didn't get the whole setup with the steering wheel and everything. I'm gonna do it on my controller and stuff, but test it out there. Give my review on that game. See if I can beat Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Probably not.
Are you Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Because I was just going to say there's a great. I'm really looking forward to Forza Motorsport when it comes out in October. That's going to be good.
I'm looking forward to playing Starfield at 144 hertz, so 144 frames per second. Just saying.
I stopped. I had Xbox 360, but then an Xbox One, but the newest
PS5.
one. Yeah, I went with PS5 instead of the least. So
Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah,
sorry.
So
yeah, a lot of good games
what you got,
coming out for them. Yeah, nothing much. Yeah, you know me. I'm working all the time, writing stuff for the site in any of my spare time. Don't even get a chance to watch TV that much these days. And when it does, it tends to be work-related stuff. So, if anyone wants to come and help out and be as busy as I am and write, obviously you don't need to be as busy as I am, but you could just write when you feel like it and you have a strong opinion on something, please give us a shout. All our details are on screen. If you want to contact any one of the three, it kind of would get to the same place anyway if you're interested and, if you want to write about stuff that I don't know anything about and you do and you think there's an audience for it, give us a shout and we will give you the platform. That's it.
Indeed. With that, guys, don't know when we will see you again, but we'll see you eventually at least by Ahsoka.
At least August.
Yeah, at least August. We'll
Depends
see
when news comes
as news hits. Until then, may the Force be with you.